Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early. It's not even 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. If it's not 3:30 yet, if you see me before 3:30, that means that I found a story that I feel very strongly about. The people that watch my channel, you know that, and today that's the situation. I was trying to think of the best way to present this story to you because I came across one story, then I came across another story. I did research on both stories. Then I started thinking about how these stories affected me. And I might as well give it to you guys in that order. All right, first story I came across. I tell you guys, I go onto this app, Flipboard, I think it's called. It's got stories from the left, stories from the right, stories about Donald Trump, stories about sports, blah blah blah. All right, and I want to read everything from all the far left to the far right and everything in between. All right, first story I came across was from Fox News. Actual Fox News piece, Tucker Carlson. Okay, now Tucker Carlson has described his own show as entertainment and not news. I have researched. I've done stories on Tucker Carlson before, and I've uncovered stuff that was just flat out lies, not even twisting the truth, but just flat out ignoring the truth. So I can't put too much validity into what he's saying. But this is what he's saying. The clip will be right down below, so you can watch it yourselves. He's blaming the Biden administration for book banning. He says the Biden administration is book banning. I found no evidence of this. But he says that the Biden administration has kind of strong-armed Amazon into not selling certain books. I did some research on that too. I'll get to that shortly. And he's talking about this book by a Russian author, Alexander Dugin. Okay, this guy, it sounds like he's still alive. He's described as a philosopher and an author. I've never heard of him, but apparently Tucker Carlson has got his panties all in a bunch because Amazon isn't selling this book. Now, first thing that comes to mind is Amazon is a private company. They could sell whatever they want. And I'm going to get more to that. I'm going to get more into that in a second too, because I was shocked at what I found. Okay, so Tucker Carlson describes this a little bit. He says Alexander Dugin, this philosopher, his daughter was, I gotta watch the words I use, taken out by the Ukrainian government. I don't know if this is true. I don't know who Alexander Dugin is, but it sounds like your basic, it's Tucker Carlson taking Putin's side again, Russian propaganda. So that's what I figured, right? But it got me thinking. I wondered, how much is there any truth in this? First of all, if Amazon wants to sell books, they could sell books. So the next story, just a couple of flips of my phone later, I found another story about Spring Lake, Michigan, a school board meeting that erupted into total chaos. Now the link will be right down below for that. This is just yesterday or the day before. Wednesday, Tuesday, or I think it was Tuesday night. Total chaos over a book called Genderqueer. Okay, these parents are flipping out, and the parents. First of all, the parents can only talk for 3 minutes. The parents just went on rambling past that. They're notified, you gotta stop talking. We all get 3 minutes. So eventually, one of the board members takes the microphone from her because she's ignoring the rules. And you take away, when you talk longer than you're supposed to, you're taking away. You're not just talking. You're taking away somebody else's opinion, somebody else's point of view. And it erupts into total chaos. I looked this up, and there'll be some links down below. Genderqueer is it's supposed to be one of the most banned books or most censored books in America. So I started thinking about both these stories. All right, and I wanted to see first. Like I Googled Amazon banned books that Amazon won't sell or doesn't sell, and the link that link will be right down below. 3 books were listed. Okay, the first one was a religious slanted view written by a Catholic person about transgender people, and it gives a slanted view on how sometimes it doesn't work out right. People have second thoughts about it. It's this other view. And then I read the comments below it, and there was a lot of comments against it, that it was propaganda, that it was written slanted from a religious point of view, and it's not really the truth. I don't know. The next book was China and America and the COVID epidemic and capitalism and the COVID epidemic. And again, it's a very slanted view. And it's a book that the right would consider important or whatever. So these are books from the right that have been banned. Not banned, but Amazon won't sell. Top 3 books. This is just the first link that I came across. The third one was Essays on Fascism, and one of them was by Joseph Goebbels. I've heard that name before in history. He was one of Hitler's right-hand men. So, so I look at these 3 books, and especially the fascism one. I'm like, the first thing that comes to mind, the first 2 might be misinformation. Anyway, let me just stop there. So I started thinking about, Amazon's criteria for not selling books. Is it misinformation? Is it because they're dangerous to certain people, like transgender people? We know there's there's a very high level of depression and depression. I'll stop right there, because otherwise I have to put all sorts of stuff in my links with transgender people. So is it about keeping people safe? So I thought about some of the most dangerous books I've seen in my life. Okay, now I'm going to talk about something that's very drug orientated. Back when I was using, I was wondering about manufacturing certain banned substances like methamphetamine. Turns out Amazon does sell this book, Uncle Fester's book on manufacturing this substance. And not only that, there's a whole line of Uncle Fester books on knife fighting. And some of these I don't even know. I probably already lost my monetization just by saying this. Manufacturing certain devices that are boom, that kind of thing. So I saw with my own eyes, Amazon sells now. Now, being a recovering addict, I can't think of any possible good reason to sell this stuff. If you're talking about stuff that's dangerous to people, because you hear people like me talk about, we're concerned about depression in transgender people, right? But then, as a recovering addict, selling this stuff, that kind of ups the level of being dangerous. Let me note this. I actually saw a video because I was trying to think of a valid reason for these books. I did see a video by police enforcement, and it was a police officer with a table actually going through the entire process of manufacturing these substances. Had them all laid out, and he was doing this for other officers, and he did this video for people at home to recognize how to handle them, to be more knowledgeable. If you're going to fight against this, you need to know how it's manufactured, the properties, and it was an actual video of a cop manufacturing this stuff, and I was able to find it and watch it. Although he did leave out certain key information, I got to tell you that. I got to admit, I'm sure these books do not leave out any information. So you could whip up if there's one substance, if there's one thing that's dangerous, if there's 3 things that are dangerous to Americans, I think it's probably these 3 things. Things that go boom, these substances and knife fighting. So Amazon doesn't see a problem with selling, so I am conflicted. And I started thinking about this criteria though. What about misinformation? Okay, these books, even though they're offensive about how to manufacture, knife fight, and all that other stuff, they're true. They are scientifically, they're true. You can't deny that. They're dangerous as AF, but they're true. These other things, then they might not be true. A lot of them have been proven not to be accurate. And then in this inaccuracy comes a danger of people believing this stuff. This is where I'm going to tell you about 2 stories, 2 things that misinformation has directly affected me. Audrey, my best friend and girlfriend, believed this stuff. about the whole pandemic. She believed this. I actually saw her. I saw text where she was sharing information, like these texts on the pandemic. You know, how it was total misinformation. She moved to Jacksonville, and within a day or two of getting to Jacksonville, she contracted the Delta virus variant. And within less than 6 weeks, she was gone from this earth. She was my best friend. She believed this stuff, this misinformation, and she is gone. This is one of the things that affected me most in my entire life, and it was misinformation. Let me tell you about this other story. Back when I used to hang out with clubs, motorcycle clubs, HA. And I hung out in this other club too. I wasn't part of them, but I would go there to get substances and party. This club was called Stormtroopers. Yeah, and it was what it sounds like. This is located in Waterbury, Connecticut. And I had a talk, as I was whiling the night away, and with one of the members, and he truly believed that the Holocaust was not real. And he listed all this, what he thought, he had been around people for so long. I saw this wasn't what your basic fear of other people, but your basic racism. This was way beyond that. This is where this person truly believed that this stuff never happened. As I talked to him more, he just did not believe it. And this is a whole different level of misinformation. So I'm conflicted. And then on top of that, you throw into the age category, like with these other books in Spring Lake. Parents do have a right to what their kids are exposed to. The solution I could think of there is have every parent that has a kid in that school get one vote. All right, just a good old lesson in good old American democracy. And the majority wins. If you want that book in the library and your kid's in that school, you get one vote. Maybe every 5 years, because the kids will age out of the school. Maybe every 5 years you could re-vote on the book. And so new parents have new kids in the school and vote. Good old basic democracy. And if you don't like the outcome, you could take your kid out of school. And that sounds fair to me. These other books, though, who's to say what is misinformation? There's certain stuff that came out at the beginning of the pandemic that we saw that wasn't quite accurate, and this wasn't intentional. This was just stuff we thought to be the case, to be the situation. And there's a rush to get information out to inform people, and that's the problem. People are clamoring for more information, and people rush to get information out, and they're given the latest data. And sometimes, as we know in life, the data isn't always accurate. It's a tough subject. Do you start banning one thing? Do you ban? Are you going to ban everything? If you allow this other kind of stuff by Uncle Fester on manufacturing this stuff, really, if you're going to sell that stuff, why not either sell it all or sell none of it? That's my idea. Otherwise, you are slanting your ideals. But then you could do that. This is America. Like I said, I am so conflicted on this. And what is misinformation? The stuff on World War II in Germany. We know that's not misinformation. What if we allow stuff by like Joseph Goebbels to be basic essays on fascism? And this misinformation starts to spread. What if history gets twisted, which it does? As they say, the victor writes history. The person that wins is the one who writes the history. So chances are we probably believe a lot of stuff. We're told a lot of stuff that isn't quite accurate already. I don't know. I think in the end you need to rely on education. Critical thinking, educating yourself, common sense, and empathy to other people. If what would I do if I were that person? What makes sense? I think that's one of the biggest things, one of the biggest factors in trying to figure out what's true and what's not true. I don't know. I don't like book banning. I don't like saying people, because then once you ban a book, then what about free speech? What about stuff on the internet? Once you say that you can't read this, it's dangerous to read this, then it's dangerous to say this. It's dangerous to think this. And I'm leaning towards just let it all out there. And if you are ignorant enough to believe something that's completely not true, then it's on you. But what if a lot of people believe this and it becomes a fact in history? I don't know. I hope this video gets a lot of views, because I feel strongly about it, but I feel conflicted about it. All right, let me know what you think. I'm running way over time. You guys have a good Thursday.